ODD TV.
Never sleep again.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Order out of chaos. What we are witnessing all across America and the rest of the world right now is pure chaos. People are sitting in their homes right now, watching the news, or driving somewhere in their car with the mask on, listening to the news on the radio, and they're in a state of fear. They're angry. They're scared. They're everything the puppeteers want them to be. What we see going on is all completely orchestrated. This is an old trick used to gain more power. From Pearl Harbor to 9/11, history, or his story, is littered with instances of governments using alleged terrorist attacks to justify invasions or suspend civil liberties indefinitely. Order out of chaos, an occult motto of which the vast majority of the world have never heard before, is in fact the motto and creed of the 33rd degree of Freemasonry, a secret society of which almost all our political leaders, both past and present, are devout members, and if not, they still fall in line with the agenda. It doesn't matter. The trick of creating chaos and then seizing power under the pretense of putting things back in order is a tried and true method of deception and manipulation. It's also referred to as the Hegelian dialect, after the philosopher George Hegel, who wrote about its effectiveness. He described it as thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Others have described it as problem, reaction, solution. In that firstly you create the problem, then secondly you fan the flames to get a reaction, then thirdly you provide a solution, the solution that they wanted to achieve in the first place, but wouldn't have been able to achieve under normal circumstances. George Orwell described it as reality control. In his book 1984, he said, "The rocket bombs which fell daily on London were probably fired by the government of Oceania itself, just to keep the people frightened." The core values and beliefs of the financially elite, self-appointed overlords of the world, are on display all across our plane of existence for those with eyes to see. Besides Hollywood's blatant mind control techniques, their methods of subconscious brainwashing, and even their routine predictive programming, the satanic cabal have hidden their plans for humanity in plain sight in numerous different ways. The message is always clear and always consistent. It's a message that the established empire of evil live by. That message is order out of chaos. The Great Seal. First thing you want to look at is the back of the US dollar bill. Right off top, you see the Illuminati all-seeing eye. This is claimed to be the Eye of Providence, which translates to the Eye of God. But this is the Eye of Horus, or what I refer to as the Eye of Lucifer, the Lightbringer. Illuminati, enlightened ones. Lucifer, the light bearer. You can see how those go together. Above the eye is the phrase, Annuit Coeptis. The official translation as given by the U.S. State Department, U.S. Mint, and U.S. Treasury is, "He has favored our undertakings." When they say he, they imply God, but not the God most people think. The God they're referring to is none other than the God of this world, according to the Bible. Satan, Lucifer. Call it what you want, argue if it's real or not, but this is what they believe, and if they don't, they sure do a fantastic job at putting on extremely intricate and massive rituals all the time in his honor. From award shows,
Since we're giving a rock award tonight, who wants to pray to the devil with me? Dear Dark Lord Satan, hope everything's good with you. I'm doing fine myself. Just wanted to say hi and ask you to grant tonight's nominees continued success in the music industry.
Thank you to Satan for giving me inspiration on how to play this role.
Olympic opening ceremonies, to Super Bowl halftime shows. And music videos. Even random events like the time they opened the world's longest tunnel in Switzerland called the Gotthard Base Tunnel. So they're constantly paying homage to this god, and that includes the Great Seal artwork on the back of the most circulated currency in the world. On the bottom of the pyramid, you see the Roman numerals for 1776. This is the year the Bavarian Illuminati was founded. The Bavarian Illuminati champions an owl for its main symbol because owls are extremely vigilant and can see in the dark. They represent knowledge, wisdom, perspicacity, and erudition. Hidden on the front of the dollar bill is a little owl tucked into the top right corner. If you flip it upside down, it looks like a skull and crossbones. Highly unlikely to be a coincidence, being that Satanists and Luciferians thrive on inversion. At the very bottom of the Great Seal is the phrase Novus Ordo Seclorum, which means New Order of the Ages. In other words, New World Order.
New World Order. New World Order. New World Order. New World Order. A New World Order. New World Order. New World Order.
New World Order.
And that Great Seal of the United States has on it Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new order for the centuries, for the ages, forever.
Which really isn't new at all. We've been living under this New World Order for centuries. When America was founded, or taken over, it was called the New World. Now, on the obverse of the Great Seal is what's believed to be an American eagle, but the fact of the matter is that it's a phoenix. In the book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages by 33rd Degree Freemason Manly P. Hall, it states, "The hand of the mysteries controlled in the establishment of the new government, for the signature of the mysteries may still be seen on the Great Seal of the United States of America. Careful analysis of the seal discloses a mass of occult and Masonic symbols, chief among them the so-called American Eagle. Only the student of symbolism can see through the subterfuge and realize that the American Eagle upon the Great Seal is but a conventionalized phoenix." When you zoom in real close on the eye of the bird, it's very reptilian-like. Normally the eyes of birds contained round pupils. I only mention this because every line, every detail on the Great Seal was well thought out, and there weren't any accidents. Anyway, on the ribbon being held by the beak of the phoenix is the phrase E pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. And this is my main reason for bringing up the dollar bill in the first place. The Latin phrase goes hand in hand with the Masonic term order out of chaos. Currently, in the New World Order in which we find ourselves trying to survive, there are many countries, many governments, many corporations, many currencies, many religions, and many ways of life. Out of all these great many things, the ultimate goal of the New World Order is to arrive at one single replacement for each. They want one single government for the entire world to take the place of the many governments we have now. One single currency for the whole world to use in the buying and selling of goods. One single religious belief system for all of humanity to adhere to, etc. And for all these singular entities, a one world leader to direct them. The way that these one world institutions will be achieved is through chaos. And since there isn't much chaos on Earth as the mainstream would have you believe, this chaos is orchestrated by those that wish to see this one world authority come to fruition. All the more reason for the phoenix to be symbolized on the seal. Legends of the mythical creature say it dies in a show of flames and combustion and is reborn from its ashes. The idea is emblematic of the desired outcome of those that rule from the shadows. They want to take the world down in a show of flames and have it be reborn as the One World Order. The ones engineering this plot love putting the truth in plain sight for all to see. The back of the dollar bill is just the beginning, but still important to understand, being that it represents the main objective of the occult elite. Georgia Guidestones. The Guidestones are a granite monument that was unveiled on March 22, 1980 in Elbert County, Georgia. That date would suggest that the secret society Skull and Bones played a role in the creation of the stones. Researchers believe the secret society, the Rosicrucians, are behind these stones because the commissioner's name, or at least the pseudonym that he gave the company to make the stones, is R.C. Christian, which is very similar to Rosie Cross Christian, Rosicrucian. 10 guidelines are engraved on the stones in 8 different languages: English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. Due to its highly disturbing nature, number 1 is most often the focus of the 10 guidelines. It says, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. What makes this so unsettling is that in order to have 500 million or less people, there would need to be at least a 90% reduction in the current world population. With our fluoridated water supply, chemically contaminated air due to chemtrails, prescription medication, vaccines, and most of the food and drinks you find in the majority of grocery stores being on par with poison, it's pretty clear that depopulation is on the to-do list. This monument also serves as a compass, a calendar, and a clock. A slot on the center pillar allows one to see the sunrise on the horizon during an equinox or a solstice. Another hole drilled into a different spot on the same pillar will always provide a view of the North Star on a clear night. And a small hole in the capstone serves as a sundial. At noon every day, a reading of where the sunbeam hits the center column allows one to pinpoint the exact day of the year. There's also a spot on the flagstone that says something about a time capsule, but neither the date for planting the time capsule or when to dig it up is filled out, so no one knows if anything is even under there. This project was extremely well planned and seems to serve as a form of lesser magic, predictive programming. These stones are putting off a powerful force into the collective consciousness of humanity. On one hand, we know it's there and really don't want it to come true. But on the other hand, because we know it's there and we give thought to it, the likelihood of it becoming a reality increases. At least that's the idea behind it. But again, anyone with 2 brain cells to bang together can see the deliberate attack on human health. Can people be healthy? Yes. Is it hard? Not really. But society is heavily engineered, and everybody is subjected to constant mental conditioning. People live unhealthy lifestyles and are generally victims of allopathic medicine. Denver New World Airport. Denver International Airport, also called New World Airport because inside the atrium, known as the Great Hall, there's a Freemasonic capstone that says Denver New World Airport. Underneath the capstone is a time capsule, not to be opened until 2094. Everyone knows about the sinister-looking horse on the way into the airport. Some refer to him as Blucifer, and it's known for its creepy appearance and the fact that its creator, Luis Jimenez, died when a section of it fell on him at his studio while he was working on it. Seems odd that they'd still use the piece after retrieving his dead body from underneath it, but kind of appropriate being that it's eerily similar to the pale horse of the apocalypse. It is the 4th horse named Death in the book of Revelation in the Bible. Anyway, as you walk inside the airport, you're greeted by spooky-looking gargoyles sitting in suitcases. Conspiracies have surrounded this airport since it opened in 1995. Namely, the idea that it has a deep underground military base where top-secret projects and experiments take place. It would also serve as a fallout shelter for the elite if something cataclysmic were to happen. There's good reason to believe that this is true because the project was $2 billion over budget upon its completion. There's usually 4 murals inside the airport, but right now there's only 2. The murals tell a story of devastating events that lead to the creation of a one world order. In the first part of the story, we see a Nazi-like military figure wearing a gas mask, and he's armed with a scimitar and an AK-47. The blade is swished through the air, leaving a rainbow chemtrail that's polluting the air while people below are suffering from toxicity and genocide. The blade is then jabbed into a white dove, which Christianity and the Bible describe as the symbol of peace and love. On the lower right, you see buildings reminiscent of the Twin Towers that have been destroyed. This mural is one of the 2 pieces that go together titled The Children of the World Dream of Peace, and has been temporarily taken down for renovations. It was removed in 2018 and is due to return in 2021. Same thing with the second part of the mural, where children of all nations hand over their weapons wrapped in their nation's flag to a German boy taking a hammer to the scimitar while the masked soldier from the previous mural lays dead in the foreground. This is an obvious reference to the One World Order and everything this video is about. An extremely chaotic event, bringing about a harmonious order. And why is the Nazi soldier wearing a gas mask? What is he protecting himself from? Chemical warfare? Germ warfare, perhaps? Moving on to the last 2 murals, this set is titled In Peace and Harmony with Nature. The first of the 2 is set against a backdrop of horrific destruction and the extinction of various species, including whales and sea turtles. Only children are seen in the center sobbing over 3 open caskets. The left casket contains an African girl. A native girl is in the center casket, and a white Judeo-Christian girl on the right. This represents the end of different spiritual outlooks and different religions. In the second part of this set, we see children dancing in celebration as the One World religion begins, paying tribute to the illuminated lotus blossom in the center, while a Quetzalcoatl flies around above. Quetzalcoatl means feathered serpent and was a symbol of enlightenment to Mesoamerican culture. This is a slick way of adding a representation of Lucifer, not to mention that the mythos of this bird had heavy connections with the morning star, Venus. Notice the dance line begins and is directed by the Scottish Rite Freemason. Last but not least, the name of the mural, again, is In Peace and Harmony with Nature. And what was the first guideline on the Georgia Guidestones? Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. This seems to be the order that it goes in. 1 and 2 depict chaotic events, and 3 and 4 depict order taking place after the chaos. I was recently at this airport with my lady, and we saw all sorts of posters everywhere that mock conspiracy theorists. They put these up while it's under construction. At one point, they even had a talking gargoyle that says, "Welcome to Illuminati headquarters."
That's a little too close for comfort, lady.
Oh, damn.
What, you never seen a talking gargoyle before? Welcome to Illuminati headquarters. I mean, Denver International Airport.
I don't know if it's still there or not, but strangely enough, I believe I was the first to dub this airport the headquarters of the Illuminati in my 2014 video, The Colorado Conspiracy, which I remade in 2016. You can still watch the remake on my channel. Bank of America. Prominently displayed in the lobby of the Bank of America's corporate center in Charlotte, North Carolina, are 3 frescoes filled with occult symbols. Even more unsettling is the fact that those images seem to predict events of a radical world change in the not-so-distant future, and they bear a striking resemblance to the murals at the Denver New World Airport. In the first painting, we see a young blonde boy standing on a Masonic checkerboard floor. Notice he looks a lot like the boy in the Denver airport mural, a little bit older here. He's standing in a Masonic pose. Notice his feet are at a 90-degree angle. There's a Masonic ritual from the handbook, Duncan's Ritual and Monitor of Freemasonry, that has the apprentice stand upright with his feet at a right angle. Here's a passage from the book. It's in the form of a question and answer. On your return to the lodge, where were you placed as the youngest entered apprentice? In the northeast corner, my feet forming a right angle, my body erect at the right hand of the worshipful master in the east, an upright man and mason, and it was given me strictly in charge ever to walk and act as such. Down the stairs below the boy are businessmen conversing and exchanging ideas while pointing at the Masonic boy. The boy's left eye is covered by some sort of transparent red thing. Behind the boy, there's a man sitting next to a burning bush, which is a reference to the burning bush of the Old Testament. The burning bush is of great importance in Masonic ritual, especially for the 33rd degree, whose members are considered to be near the burning bush. In the book, The Encyclopedia of Freemasonry by Albert G. Mackey, it says this: in the 3rd Exodus, it is recorded that while Moses was keeping the flock of Jethro on Mount Horeb, the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush, and there communicated to him for the first time his ineffable name. This occurrence is commemorated in the burning bush or the Royal Ark degree, In all systems of antiquity, fire is adopted as a symbol of deity, and the burning bush, or the bush filled with fire which did not consume, whence came forth the tetragrammaton, the symbol of divine light and truth, is considered in the advanced degrees of Freemasonry, like the Orient in the lower, as the great source of true Masonic light. Wherefore, supreme councils of the 33rd degree date their balusters or official documents near the BB, or burning bush, to intimate that they are, in their own right, the exclusive source of all Masonic instruction. Behind the man with the burning bush is an Egyptian pyramid, the ultimate symbol of the mysteries in occult teachings. A strange feature of the painting is a woman trapped inside a see-through cube hanging from strings. This could represent many things. Maybe she's the common debt slave, stuck in the confines of the material world while being controlled by unseen forces. To the left of her are stairs, apparently leading to the heavens, a classic symbol representing the path of enlightenment through the mysteries of Masonry. In the sky is a black sun, another symbol of an esoteric significance. In alchemy, the black sun, or Sol Niger, is the name of the result of the first stage of the opus magnum. The alchemical magnum opus, or great work, starts with the blackening, which is the calcination of crude metals, and ends with their transmutation into pure gold. A black sun can also be found at the Denver airport on the floor in one area. The middle painting in the bank depicts a chaotic transition period that affects all parts of society and civilization. In this FEMA camp-like setting, we find military and religious figures, people protesting, and much more. The protesters' signs are blank, telling us that there isn't anything that can be said, or what people want to say doesn't matter. The street signs are also blank, letting us know that there isn't anywhere to go. At the left of the painting is a person wearing a biohazard suit, hinting at some kind of chemical warfare, or perhaps germ warfare, similar to the masked soldier in the Denver mural. At the top of this painting, you see the elite above circling free and naked in their wealth and disgusting power, while being separated from the chaos below via the net and continuing to oversee. If you look closely, they take the shape of a six-pointed star. This represents the synagogue of Satan and the star of their god, Remphan. The final painting depicts the age of rebuilding after the chaos is over. What's left of the slave class is working underground. A worker above with a red cloth in his back pocket contemplates the work done while a giant rests in the hill. The sleeping giant is positioned similarly to that of the child in one of the Denver murals. These Bank of America paintings place heavy emphasis on the color red. This brings to mind the Rothschild family. Rothschild means red shield, and they very well could be in Colorado in this painting. Colorado means the color red. Another tie to the Denver airport, since Denver is in Colorado. The murals overall seem to correlate with what occultists call the Great Work, but instead of personal development, this transmutation has to do with humanity undergoing intense chaos as to arrive to an age of harmony and unity under a one-world order. Cathedral of St. John the Divine. Despite being incomplete, the Cathedral of St. John the Divine is one of the world's largest cathedrals. It was featured on the cover of Masonic World in March of 1925. At the top of the building, in the center, is a pyramid with an all-seeing eye. As you might know, Masonry has been, through the ages, the keeper of the ancient mysteries, which are occult and esoteric teachings only communicated to the initiates. Occultists draw their teachings from ancient Egyptian, Babylonian, Kabbalah, and Gnostic cultures, who predate many centuries the Christian era. Secret societies have been forced to hide the true nature of their philosophies in a veil of Christianity to avoid persecution by the Church. Freemasons and their fellow organisms The Rosicrucian Order, the Knights Templar, have all been accused of devil worship and idolatry in Europe. Stonemasons have sculpted numerous scenes that seem oddly out of place for a cathedral. The most striking one is the chilling depiction of the destruction of New York City and its landmarks. The pillar was added in 1997, 4 years before the destruction of the Twin Towers. Other recognizable skyscrapers are the Chrysler Building and the Citigroup Center. On the pillar next to it, we see the Brooklyn Bridge crumbling with cars and buses falling into agitated waters. At the right is the Statue of Liberty, which seems to be sinking in the water. Beneath this horrifying prophecy is the New York Stock Exchange, with people trading goods around it. So what is the purpose of this weird carving? Well, the first thing that needs to be mentioned is the actual St. John the Divine is credited for writing the Book of Revelation in the Bible, which describes, in symbolic imagery, the events of the apocalypse. Occultists believe that the Book of Revelation has been hermetically coded to reveal its true meaning to the initiates of esoteric teachings. This scene carved on the west entrance of the cathedral depicts New York as being Babylon the Great, the city that gets completely destroyed by the wrath of God.
Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
The Statue of Liberty may be the horror that sits on many waters from Revelation 17:1.
I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
The sculpture outside of the cathedral, called the Peace Fountain, basically symbolizes the struggle between good and evil, and features numerous elements we can find in paganism: sun worship, mythical creatures, and sun versus moon duality. The sculpture borrows the fantastic, bizarre, and distorted art style of the grotesque. All sorts of animal creatures are emerging from a smiling sun, which represents the basic paradigm of sun worship. The idol points to the east, in ancient pagan tradition. A devil head hangs from the bottom, and we can also find a quote from John Lennon saying, "One day, the world will live as one." There's your connection to the one world order out of chaos. This cathedral is home to many strange annual rituals, including the procession of the ghouls that takes place around Halloween, the blessing of the animals, the blessing of the bicycles, and Paul Winter's Winter Solstice celebration, where a famous New Age musician celebrates the winter solstice, one of the most ancient pagan rituals. This cathedral also happens to be the official headquarters of the Temple of Understanding, which is an interfaith effort to steer people away from traditional religions to a more hybrid kind of spirituality based on New Age philosophies. The temple has received full UN accreditation and has played a key role in the spiritual department of the United Nations. 12 individuals listed as directors or advisors of the Temple of Understanding are also members of the United Nations Global Forum Councils. Those forums have received numerous speakers who've openly supported a neo-pagan world religion based on earth worship. So there's your connection to a one-world religion. Illuminati card game. In the 1990s, games designer Steve Jackson created a role-playing game called Illuminati: The Game of Conspiracy. When playing, you take on the role of shadowy puppet masters who make up the ruling elite and members of the Illuminati and other secret societies. Your mission is to launch Black Ops false flag attacks on your own people and generally conspire to act out evil plans to elevate your own wealth and, more importantly, to strengthen your iron-fisted grip on world domination. I'm not going to go over these cards in great detail, but these cards have an amazing track record of coming to fruition. from the Twin Towers and the Pentagon to many uncanny resemblances of modern public figures. On March 1st, 1990, in an early morning raid with an unlawful and unconstitutional warrant, agents of the United States Secret Service conducted a search of the Steve Jackson Games office. They seized and removed, all in all, 3 computers, 5 hard disks, and more than 300 floppies of software and data. They also seized a book manuscript being prepared for publication. This raid took place before the release of the Illuminati New World Order cards that we're talking about now, although versions of the Illuminati game have been around since the early 80s. The raid came about because Steve Jackson Games employed a hacker named Lloyd Blankenship that was a member of the hacker group, the Legion of Doom. Because of this, the Secret Service believed that Steve Jackson Games was a front for a hacker ring. Though a disturbing amount of the cards from this game have come true over the years, Steve Jackson and his employees deny having any insider information of the Illuminati and the New World Order, claiming that any events that the cards seem to coincide with are purely coincidental. The Economist. The Economist magazine is another entity with a great track record of future predictions that have come true. Either that, or they just know the plan and they encode it on the covers of their magazine. Each year they put out an issue titled The World in, and then whatever year it is. Every time one of these issues comes out, many YouTube channels take a shot at decoding what the cover means and what's to come in the future for humanity. We're briefly going to go over a couple of things in the World in 2019 edition of The Economist. One of the things that stuck out to me was the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that are to the right of the panda bear. As you can see here, one of them is wearing what looks like a medical face mask. This is interesting because at the end of 2019 is when this whole fiasco started. On the head of the masked horseman is a spiked crown, like that of the Statue of Liberty. The word corona is Latin for crown. Besides Event 201, which was a coronavirus simulation that occurred just weeks before the pandemic began, this shows the whole thing is planned. On the top of the globe sits a panda, which are animals located in China, where this so-called outbreak started. Underneath the panda, to the left of the 4 horsemen, is a stork carrying a baby with a barcode. This seems to tie in with the idea of ID 2020, chipping babies at birth with a digital ID. On the bottom left of the cover is an animal known as a pangolin. Now this is fascinating because after the supposed pandemic got going, many news outlets were blaming the spread of the coronavirus on the pangolin. Lots of interesting things on this cover, including the Vitruvian Man holding a cell phone with a QR code, Pinocchio with the long nose, signifying lies, and Donald Trump along with another man having facial recognition used on them. Again, this magazine comes out with a hardcore predictive programming issue every year, and you can find many decodes on all of them. Eurovision 2019. In 2019, Madonna performed at Eurovision, covering one eye with a patch and wearing a crown, or a corona, on her head. The song that she sang contained the lyrics, "Not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone is learning from the past. Not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone that's here is gonna last."
Not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone is learning from the past. Not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone that's here is gonna last.
All the while, people with gas masks were dancing around her. At one point, Madonna blows a wind of death on the masked people and everyone dies, while the screens in the background show a broken Statue of Liberty. This performance took place in May of 2019, 6 months before the news started ringing the bell on the current pandemic. Fast forward to the recent post on her Instagram account where she had this to say.
That's the thing about COVID-19, it doesn't care about how rich you are, how famous you are, how funny you are, how smart you are, where you live, how old you are, what amazing stories you can tell. It's the great equalizer. And what's terrible about it is what's great about it. What's terrible about it is it's made us all equal in many ways. And what's wonderful about it is that it's made us all equal in many ways.
If anything about the virus was real in any way, it wouldn't be wonderful by any means. Conclusion. There are several reasons that the elite put all this symbolism out in the open for the masses to see. One is predictive programming, as we've gone over. Predictive programming says, once the masses are exposed to a shocking idea, they are less shocked and more accepting when it actually happens. Second, the elite believe in karmic laws. If the masses are properly warned, and if they willingly accept what is happening, the elite are relieved of any bad karma. Third, putting their ideas on display for everyone to witness gives their plans the energy needed to bear fruit. It's like the old saying, where thoughts go, energy flows. Finally, symbols rule the world. Throughout history, the symbolism of those in power has always been littered all across society. One thing is for sure, for centuries, these secret orders have been very careful and calculated in the moves toward their ultimate dream of a one-world rule. But over the past 2 decades, they seem to have switched gears in order to advance their agendas at lightning speed. This is because of the internet. People have been able to share things with each other at the click of a mouse, and more people are waking up at a much faster pace. This turned out to be a blow to the occult elite that they weren't ready for. The Great Awakening is upon us, and they are doing everything they possibly can to put a stop to it. As you can tell, with everything that's going on. More on that in future videos. This has been ODD. Thanks for watching my video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and check out other videos on this channel. Also, consider becoming a Patreon and keeping me afloat while I continue to make videos based on my research. Any and all support is highly appreciated. Thanks again.
We the sheeple, hear no, see no, and speak no evil. We get lied to so much, it seems normal to be deceitful. We'll never be treated equal, and I wanna know why. Rich people start all the wars, but only poor people die. Just take a look, it's so easy to see the system is rigged by degenerate pigs targeting our innocent kids. They start programming you just as soon as you exit the womb. Now money is your god,
you must obey and consume.